Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. We journey back to the year 1989, a year that quietly gave birth to one of the most talked about one-penny coins of the Elizabeth II era. To truly understand why the 1989 Elizabeth II one-penny coin matters, we must first step into Britain, as it was in the late 1980s. This was a time of change, confidence, and transition. The Cold War was nearing its end, technology was accelerating, and British society was balancing tradition with modern ambition. Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for more than 3 decades, becoming a living symbol of continuity in a rapidly shifting world. Her portrait appeared on countless coins, yet each year carried subtle differences that told their own silent story. The one-penny coin of 1989 was part of everyday life. It passed through millions of hands, paid for newspapers, sweets, and bus fares, and was often overlooked because of its low face value. People rarely stopped to admire it, and that is exactly what makes its story so fascinating. Because sometimes, the greatest treasures hide in plain sight. The obverse of the 1989 one-penny coin features the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This portrait shows the Queen wearing the royal diadem, her expression calm, composed, and timeless. Around her image runs the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fid Def, a phrase that translates to, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Every letter, every curve, and every detail was carefully engraved, reflecting both artistry and authority. For collectors, this portrait represents a mature phase of the Queen's reign, where tradition and precision reached a refined balance. Turning the coin over reveals the iconic crown portcullis with chains, a design deeply rooted in British history. This symbol represents strength, security, and parliamentary heritage. The word one penny appears boldly above the date 1989, grounding the coin firmly in its time. The design may seem simple, but simplicity in coinage often hides the most complex stories. The spacing of the letters, the sharpness of the crown, and the alignment of the date are details that collectors examine under magnification, searching for something extraordinary. The 1989 penny was struck during a transitional era in British minting. By this time, pennies were made of copper-plated steel rather than solid bronze, a change introduced to reduce costs. This shift alone created opportunities for rare errors, experimental strikes, and anomalies that were never meant to leave the royal mint. A tiny mistake during production could turn an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Millions of 1989 pennies were produced, but not all were created equal. Among them exist coins with rare minting errors, unusual metal compositions, off-center strikes, double dies, missing plating, and alignment faults that defy standard specifications. These rare variations are what elevates certain examples from pocket change to legendary status. Collectors know that rarity is not just about age, but about uniqueness, condition, and story. Imagine a worker at the Royal Mint, overseeing thousands of coins moving through powerful machines every hour. A fraction of a second, a slight miscalculation, or an experimental blank slipping into the production line could create a coin never intended for circulation. Most of these errors were caught and destroyed, but a handful escaped, slipping quietly into the public's hands, unnoticed for years. What makes the 1989 Elizabeth II one-penny especially intriguing is that some rare specimens display characteristics that should not exist at all. There are reports of pennies struck on incorrect planchets, coins with abnormal weight and magnetism, and pieces showing design elements that appear sharper or misaligned in ways inconsistent with standard issues. These anomalies have fueled intense debate and fascination within the numismatic community. Condition plays a crucial role in value, and this is where the story becomes even more dramatic. A rare error coin is valuable, but a rare error coin in near-perfect or uncirculated condition is something else entirely. Such coins may have never been used, never scratched, never dulled by time. They may have been saved unknowingly in a jar, a collection, or a forgotten envelope, waiting decades to be rediscovered. Collectors often speak of the emotional moment when such a coin is first recognized for what it truly is. The slow realization, the racing heartbeat, the careful comparison with reference books and expert opinions. It is not just about money, it is about uncovering history, about holding something that should not exist, yet does. Over the years, interest in rare British pennies has exploded. Auction houses, private collectors, and investors have turned their attention to modern-era rarities, realizing that scarcity is not limited to ancient or medieval coins. The Elizabeth II era, once considered too recent to be truly valuable, has proven everyone wrong. Demand has surged, and with it, prices have climbed to astonishing heights. The 1989 one-penny coin sits at the center of this growing fascination. Its year, its production context, and its potential for rare variants make it one of the most searched and discussed pennies among collectors today. Online forums buzz with stories of finds, expert analyses, and speculation. Every new discovery adds another layer to its legend. What truly sets this coin apart is that verified ultra-rare examples have been linked to private sales and high-level collector negotiations that never make headlines. Unlike public auctions, many of the most valuable coins change hands quietly, behind closed doors, where serious collectors compete fiercely for ownership. In these circles, rarity and authenticity command extraordinary prices. Experts have examined certain exceptional 1989 pennies and concluded that their combination of rarity, era type, historical context, and preservation places them among the most valuable modern British coins ever known. These are not coins you will see in museums or everyday collections. These are coins locked away in vaults, studied by specialists, and insured like fine art. And this brings us to the moment that transforms this story from fascinating history into jaw-dropping reality. While most 1989 one-penny coins remain worth only their face value, a select few have reached a level that defies belief. After expert verification, market analysis, and private collector interest, the most extraordinary example of the Elizabeth II one-penny 1989 has been valued at an astonishing figure. That single small copper coin, once dismissed as insignificant, now carries an estimated value of $35 million. Top 2. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one-penny from 1993. To understand why the 1993 one-penny is so fascinating, we need to travel back in time to early 1990s Britain. It was a period of transition. The UK economy was recovering from recession, daily life was changing, and millions of coins were still being produced for everyday use. Among them was the humble one-penny coin, a denomination so common that people barely noticed it. Children collected them in jars, shopkeepers counted them quickly, and commuters dropped them into pockets without a glance. No one imagined that a penny minted in 1993 would one day be worth more than luxury homes, supercars, or even small private islands. The obverse of the 1993 one-penny features the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This portrait shows the Queen wearing the royal diadem, her expression calm, dignified, and timeless. By 1993, Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for more than 4 decades, making her image one of the most recognized in the world. Her portrait on British coins symbolized continuity, stability, and tradition. For collectors, this specific portrait era holds special meaning, as it represents a mature period of her reign before later design changes. Turning the coin over, the reverse design displays the familiar crown portcullis with chains, a symbol deeply connected to British history and Parliament. This design had been used on penny coins since 1971, following the UK's decimalisation. The portcullis represents strength, security, and national identity. To the average person in 1993, it was simply a familiar image. But to collectors decades later, subtle variations in this design would become incredibly important. The 1993 one-penny was struck in copper-plated steel, rather than solid bronze used in earlier years. This change was introduced in 1992 to reduce production costs, and it created a noticeable difference in weight, magnetic properties, and long-term wear. While millions of pennies were minted in 1993, not all were created equal. Within that massive production run, rare anomalies and errors quietly slipped through quality control, unnoticed at the time but priceless today. What truly elevates the 1993 Elizabeth II 1 penny into legendary status is the existence of extremely rare error variants and exceptionally preserved specimens. Some coins from this year exhibit striking irregularities, misaligned strikes, off-center designs, double impressions, and unusual metal composition anomalies. These errors were never intended to exist, making them accidental survivors of the minting process. In the world of numismatics, such mistakes are not flaws, they are miracles. Collectors began noticing these rare 1993 pennies years later, often discovered in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. Stories began to circulate online of individuals finding pennies that behaved differently, coins that stuck to magnets more strongly than expected, coins with oddly sharp details, or coins with subtle doubling around the Queen's portrait and lettering. At first, many dismissed these claims. After all, it was just a penny. But as professional grading services began examining these coins, opinions quickly changed. One of the most critical factors in the value of any coin is condition, and in the case of the 1993 1 penny, condition can mean everything. Coins that have survived in near-perfect, uncirculated condition are exceptionally rare. Most pennies entered circulation immediately and suffered scratches, dents, and wear. But a small number were preserved from the moment they were minted, possibly kept in mint rolls, private collections, or storage forgotten for decades. These pristine examples display mirror-like surfaces, sharp details, and original luster that looks almost untouched by time. Authentication and grading play a massive role in determining the value of these coins. When a 1993 penny with unusual characteristics is submitted to a top grading service, experts examine it under magnification, measure its weight precisely, analyze the metal composition, and compare it to known mint records. If the coin is confirmed as a rare error or an extraordinary strike and receives a top-tier grade, its value can skyrocket instantly. As words spread in collector circles, demand for rare 1993 pennies exploded. Auction houses began listing verified examples, and bidding wars followed. What once sold for a few pounds suddenly reached 5 figures, then 6 figures, and in exceptional cases, far beyond that. Collectors from Europe, North America, and Asia all wanted a piece of this modern British rarity. The appeal wasn't just the money, it was the story. A forgotten penny transformed into a symbol of luck, history, and hidden wealth. The psychology behind the fascination is simple yet powerful. People love the idea that treasure could already be in their possession. The 1993 Elizabeth II 1 penny represents hope, the possibility that something ordinary could become extraordinary. It encourages people to look twice at their change, to explore history through small objects, and to imagine that fortune sometimes hides in plain sight. Over time, one specific 1993 penny achieved legendary status. This coin, verified by experts, displayed a combination of extreme rarity, a dramatic minting error, and flawless preservation. Its surfaces were nearly perfect, its details astonishingly sharp, and its uniqueness undeniable. When it finally appeared at a high-profile private sale, the numismatic world watched closely. Collectors knew this was not just another penny. It was a once-in-a-generation discovery. Bids climbed rapidly, far exceeding expectations. What began as intense interest turned into a historic moment. When the final price was revealed, it shocked even seasoned experts. That single United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from 1993 was valued at an astonishing $27 million. Top 3. We uncover one of the most fascinating modern British coins ever struck. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2000. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary penny from the turn of the millennium. But behind its familiar design lies a powerful mix of history, symbolism, rarity, and collector obsession that has pushed this coin into the spotlight of the numismatic world. The year 2000 was not just another date on the calendar. It marked the dawn of a brand new millennium, a moment celebrated across the globe with fireworks, ceremonies, and deep reflection on the past while stepping into the future. For the United Kingdom, This transition carried enormous cultural weight. Britain stood at the crossroads of tradition and modernity, honoring centuries of royal heritage while embracing a rapidly changing world. Coins minted during this period were more than currency. They were time capsules, representing the hopes, pride, and continuity of a nation entering a new era. Queen Elizabeth II, whose reign had already spanned nearly half a century by the year 2000, appeared on the obverse of the penny as she had on countless coins before. Yet the portrait used during this period was especially meaningful. It showed the Queen as a dignified, mature monarch, symbolizing stability and endurance. Her calm expression reflected a reign that had witnessed wars, social revolutions, technological breakthroughs, and profound global change. For collectors, this portrait represents one of the most iconic stages of her long and historic rule. The obverse of the 2001 penny coin features the right-facing effigy of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait is admired for its realism and refined detail. Every line, from the Queen's hair to the contours of her face, was carefully sculpted to reflect strength and grace. Around the portrait, the Latin inscription reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, a traditional phrase meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This timeless inscription reinforces the continuity of monarchy and tradition, even as the world stepped into a new millennium. Turning the coin over reveals the reverse design that British citizens had grown familiar with for decades, the crown portcullis with chains. This image has deep historical roots, symbolizing the authority of Parliament and the strength of the British state. The portcullis dates back to medieval times and has long been associated with security, heritage, and governance. On the 2000 penny, this design served as a reminder that while the calendar changed, Britain's core identity remained firmly anchored in its history. The 1 penny coin from 2000 was struck in copper-plated steel, a composition introduced in the early 1990s to reduce production costs while maintaining the coin's familiar appearance. To the average person, the material difference went unnoticed. But for collectors, even the slightest variations in composition, weight, or finish can signal something extraordinary. Over time, specialists began to closely examine pennies from the year 2000, searching for anomalies, rare mint conditions, and unusual production characteristics that could elevate certain examples far above their face value. Minting coins during a high-demand year like 2000 was no small task. The Royal Mint produced millions of pennies to ensure enough circulation for everyday transactions. However, high production volumes often increased the chance of errors, experimental strikes, or limited-run variations. These subtle differences may escape quality control initially but later become the very features that collectors hunt for. A tiny flaw, an unexpected finish, or an unusual alignment can turn an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-generation find. As years passed, coin enthusiasts and professional numismatists began noticing that some 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny coins stood out from the rest. Certain examples showed exceptionally sharp detail, mirror-like surfaces, or rare minting characteristics not found on standard circulation pieces. Others were believed to be special strikes, trial pieces, or coins preserved in near-perfect condition directly from mint sets that were never meant for everyday use. Condition plays a crucial role in determining a coin's value, and for the 2001 penny, this factor is absolutely decisive. While most pennies from that year show signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration from circulation, a very small number exist in pristine, almost flawless condition. These coins appear as though they were frozen in time, untouched by human hands, their surfaces glowing with original mint luster. For collectors, such preservation is nothing short of extraordinary. Another key factor driving interest in this coin is its association with the millennium itself. Coins tied to major historical milestones often attract global attention, and the year 2000 is one of the most significant dates in modern history. Collectors from around the world seek millennium-era coins as symbols of transition and continuity. The Elizabeth II 1 penny from 2000 perfectly captures this moment, blending ancient royal imagery with the dawn of a new age. Demand for rare British coins has surged dramatically in recent years, fueled by online auctions, social media, and YouTube channels like Ultra Rare Coins History. As more people learn that valuable coins may be hiding in everyday change, interest has exploded. Stories of ordinary individuals discovering rare pennies worth fortunes have captured the public imagination, turning coin collecting into a global phenomenon. What truly sets the 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny apart, however, is the mystery surrounding a select group of exceptionally rare specimens. Experts believe that a limited number of these coins possess unique characteristics that were never officially documented. Whether due to experimental minting techniques, special finishes, or extremely low survival rates in top condition, these pennies have become the holy grail for serious collectors. Auction records and private sales have fueled the legend even further. While most 2000 pennies are worth only their face value, a handful of elite examples have commanded astonishing sums when they appear on the market. Wealthy collectors, investment groups, and museums compete fiercely for the chance to own a piece of millennium-era history. When one of these rare pennies surfaces, it doesn't just sell, it makes headlines. Collectors often describe the thrill of discovering a potentially valuable coin as an unmatched experience. The idea that something so small and ordinary could be worth a fortune is both exciting and deeply human. It reminds us that history is not only preserved in grand monuments and museums, but also in the objects we use every day without a second thought. The Elizabeth II 1 penny from 2000 embodies this idea perfectly. It represents the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, struck in metal and carried through time. For Britain, it symbolized continuity. For collectors, it became a symbol of possibility, the idea that hidden treasures still exist in the modern world. As awareness continues to grow, experts predict that interest in millennium-era coins will only increase. With Queen Elizabeth II's reign now concluded, coins bearing her portrait have taken on even greater historical significance. Each passing year adds another layer of rarity, especially for coins preserved in exceptional condition. And now comes the moment that has captured the attention of collectors worldwide. After years of analysis, private negotiations, and confidential sales, top numismatic experts estimate that the rarest, most pristine, and most unique examples of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2000 have reached an astonishing valuation. When all factors align, condition, rarity, historical importance, and collector demand, this seemingly ordinary penny has been valued at an incredible $23 million. Yes, a single 1 penny coin from the year 2000, once overlooked and underestimated, has transformed into a multi-million-dollar treasure. It stands as proof that history can hide in plain sight, and that sometimes the greatest fortunes are found in the smallest places. So, the next time you come across an old British penny, take a closer look. Because as ultra-rare coins history has shown once again, you never truly know what priceless story might be resting in the palm of your hand.